Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Well, firstly, I want to warmly welcome MEP Andrews, Cuff, Daly and Fitzgerald, but I also want to welcome our former MEP, Lynn Boylan, who's sitting on my right, who has a wealth of experience in terms of Europe too, and I want to acknowledge that. And I suppose I look at the four MEPs here, I actually think we have a very diverse, really good choice for Dublin. I mean, there are a very diverse mix of people that are looking here, and everyone who's an MEP representing this constituency of Dublin is exceptionally experienced, as previous speakers have said, and I think that's worth acknowledging. And I particularly think it's nice to be here. But let's not be fooling ourselves either, folks, MEPs and senators. We've talked about Seanad reform for long enough. Everyone here on my left and everyone on my right is conscious of what we've been talking about. Indeed, the Taoiseach who addressed the Seanad last year talked about the issue of EU scrutiny, legislative scrutiny. He saw that as part of our bicameral parliament, but he saw it as a real opportunity of looking at the scrutiny of EU. Micheál Martin has also on record of saying it, and indeed I want to take this opportunity, as you have said earlier, last Cathaoirleach, to thank Mark Daly, because in 2013, I looked today, there was a bill proposed by him, and indeed Mark McSharry, the then senator, made a very elegant speech and talked about the need for scrutiny and for reform. And either we're going to be radical or redundant in this House. Are we going to be just a talking shop? Are we just in here to listen to what the MEPs have to say? And they're exceptional MEPs. But I think we need to do more. And we absolutely need to do more. And I want to hear from the MEPs what you think. How can you assist us as senators in this House to really put teeth into that, to really look at legislation? So I took the time to look at a document prepared by the Institute of Government, a parliamentary scrutiny of European legislation, which I will share with members later. And it was interesting because Ireland was one of the 10 that was picked out to look at. And I thought it was really interesting what they had to say. In terms of the German Bundestag, they said the scrutiny process is supported by a very large European Affairs Directorate within the Bundestag. In terms of the Swedish Parliament, they talked about significant scrutiny took place after the Lisbon Treaty, and things have radically improved. In terms of Holland, they say, however, debates in advance of Council UK meetings create a de facto mandating of the legislature and government position. Once a committee of the Parliament plenary has made clear its position to the government, it is unthinkable that the government would take a different position in negotiations. Now that's very restrictive, but they say it. And then it comes down to Ireland, Irish, Oireachtas, they say, and they say, but the Oireachtas has no legal or political mandate over EU matters. The government is merely obliged to take Oireachtas' opinion into account. And that's the challenge for us. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to do something really different. And that's what's going to be important for us in this House. And merely asking people to come in here and talk to us and all the niceties is all very nice. And it's great to see the MEPs, and particularly two of them are former TDs in my own constituency, and it's great to see them here and how they progressed in their own political careers. But I think we have to move further than this. And we've got to put something in terms of reform of Seanad Éireann and how we can make this place more meaningful and more supportive of you in your work, because I think that's important. Francis touched on the Green Deal, and as a member of the Joint Oireachtas Committee on Agriculture, I am really keen that we get this message over about a Green Deal. I think it's an important. Its underlying has to be the importance of a just transition. And that's going to be the challenge, not just talking about greenwashing and talking about what's great, but how can we convince people and bring people along? And we in Ireland have a unique thing in Europe. We have a great support. Our citizens support the European Parliament. Our citizens engage with it. Our citizens in the past, and I think back to myself in younger days, looked out across the water to the UK and to Europe to vindicate our rights, to bring us up, to lift us up, to hear what we had to say in terms of a more liberal, open and inclusive agenda. We turn to Europe in all its institutions to defend our rights. We owe the institution of Europe much. And I think it's really important in this House that we work closely on that. I want to wrap up also by asking our MEPs maybe to look and talk in detail somewhat in terms of Horizon and the Horizon Europe programme that started this year and I think goes on until 2027. Because innovation, technology, future logistics, all of that is where it's at now. And I think we've real opportunities to tap into that. But again, I want to thank you for coming here. I think we have to collaborate more. We cannot leave here today and go away and say we've had a successful evening. We haven't. This has to be the beginning of a process. This has to be the beginning of a relationship that makes your work and our work meaningful for the people we represent. Thank you.